Dr. Ahmed sat alone in his office. Papers rustled on his desk, disturbed by a sudden breeze. He frowned, walking to the window. It was a still summer evening. He closed the window, the old latch clicking shut. Turning back to his desk, he saw her. A young woman stood before him. Her form was translucent, shimmering like heat haze. Her eyes were filled with a deep sadness. Ahmed froze, his breath catching in his throat. He blinked, but she remained. This was no trick of the light. Fear pricked at the edges of his composure. He was a man of science, a cognitive psychologist. Ghosts were not real. Yet, here she was. He tried to speak, but his voice emerged as a dry croak. The woman reached out a hand, her touch sending a chill down his spine. "Sophia, as the ghost, help me." Then, she was gone, vanishing as quickly as she had appeared. Ahmed stood there, heart pounding, the echo of her plea hanging heavy in the air. The following days were a blur. Ahmed threw himself into his work, trying to rationalize the encounter. He told himself it was stress, fatigue, a hallucination. But deep down, a seed of unease had been planted. The memory of the woman, her plea for help, lingered. Then the whispers began. Soft murmurs at the edge of his hearing, fleeting glimpses of shadows in the corner of his eye. Faces, young and old, appeared in the darkness, their expressions etched with sorrow. He tried to ignore them, to convince himself they were figments of his imagination. One evening, as he locked up his office, he saw her again. The young woman stood at the end of the hallway, her form clearer this time. Desperation radiated from her. He could no longer deny the truth. He was seeing ghosts. The realization was both terrifying and strangely exhilarating. His entire world, everything he thought he knew, was turned upside down. Fear warred with a growing sense of responsibility. He had to help them. The decision to embrace this new reality was not an easy one. It was a journey fraught with uncertainty and fear, a path that few dared to tread. He risked his reputation, his career, his sanity. The stakes were high, and the consequences of failure were unimaginable. But the faces, the voices haunted him. They were relentless, a constant reminder of the unseen world that lay just beyond the veil of reality. He couldn't turn his back on them. The pull was too strong, the need to understand too great. He began researching, devouring ancient texts on the supernatural, folklore, and accounts of paranormal activity. Each page turned was a step deeper into the unknown. He learned about residual hauntings, spirits tethered to the physical world by unfinished business. These were not just stories, but echoes of lives once lived. He delved into the complexities of the human psyche, exploring the possibility that these apparitions were projections of his own subconscious. Was it all in his mind? Or was there something more? But something deep within him, an instinct he couldn't ignore, told him these were real entities, trapped between worlds. Their presence was palpable, their energy undeniable. He equipped himself with tools, EMF readers, voice recorders, and infrared cameras. Each device was a bridge, a way to connect with the unseen. He practiced meditation techniques, honing his senses, learning to see and hear beyond the veil. It was a discipline, a way to tune into the frequencies of the other side. He was stepping into uncharted territory, guided by intuition and a growing sense of purpose. His office transformed. It became a sanctuary, a place where the living and the dead could coexist. Books on psychology were joined by volumes on parapsychology. His library was a testament to his journey, a blend of science and the supernatural. His sterile, clinical space now held an air of mystery, a haven for both the living and the dead. It was a place where questions were asked, and sometimes answers were found. He was no longer just Dr. Ahmed, the cognitive psychologist. He was a seeker, a guide, a bridge between two worlds. He was becoming a bridge between worlds. His journey was just beginning, and the path ahead was filled with both wonder and danger. But he was ready to embrace the unseen, to walk the line between reality and the supernatural. I listened patiently as Sophia revealed her story, her voice a mournful whisper in the stillness of my office. Her words were heavy with sorrow, each one a fragment of a past she could not let go. She spoke of a hidden letter tucked away in a dusty attic, a final love letter to her childhood sweetheart, a love she never had the chance to declare. The attic, she described, was a place of forgotten memories, filled with the scent of old wood and dust. Guided by Sophia's fragmented memories, I found the letter. It was hidden beneath a loose floorboard, wrapped in a delicate, time-worn ribbon. The attic was a labyrinth of the past, each corner holding a piece of her untold story. It was faded and brittle, the ink smudged with time. The words, though barely legible, spoke volumes of a love that had endured through the years, unspoken and unfulfilled. I tracked down her sweetheart, now a grizzled old man, his heart heavy with unspoken grief. His home was filled with echoes of the past, each room a silent witness to his solitary life. Reading the letter, tears welled up in his eyes. The words rekindled memories of a time long gone, of a love that had never been given the chance to blossom. As the old man clutched the letter to his chest, Sophia's form shimmered, a look of peace spreading across her face. The room seemed to glow with a soft, ethereal light, as if the very air was charged with her presence. With a grateful smile, she faded away, finally free to move on. S1. Her spirit, once tethered by regret, was now liberated, her unfinished business finally resolved. I was a student, full of life and dreams, before a tragic accident cut my time short. My life, once vibrant and full of promise, was abruptly halted, leaving so much unsaid and undone. I'm tethered to this world by a secret, a message I desperately need to deliver. Narrator. This message, a final declaration of love, was my only hope for peace. Her name was Sophia, a name that once held so much promise, now a whisper in the wind. The young woman who first appeared in my office. Her presence was both haunting and serene, a silent plea for help. I learned this through whispers, fragments of memories that flickered around her like dying embers. Each fragment was a piece of her story, a glimpse into a life interrupted. Word spread like wildfire. Dr. Ahmed, the ghost whisperer. People flocked to his door, desperate for help, for closure, for a connection to loved ones lost. He listened to their stories, their pain, their regrets. He saw the raw grief in their eyes, the desperate hope that lingered in their voices. But not all spirits were as benevolent as Sophia. There were those consumed by anger, by resentment, their presence a chilling weight in the air. They lashed out, their rage echoing through the corridors of his mind. He learned to shield himself, to navigate the treacherous currents of the spectral realm. The line between his world and theirs blurred. Sleep offered little respite, his dreams haunted by ghostly whispers and spectral visions. He felt the weight of their sorrow, their anger, their longing. It was a heavy burden, one that threatened to consume him. Through it all, Ahmed felt a profound shift within himself. It was as if the very core of his being was being reshaped, molded by the experiences he was enduring. He had always been a man of logic, of reason. His world was one of facts and evidence, where every question had an answer and every problem a solution. Now he was forced to confront the limitations of his own understanding. The supernatural encounters he faced defied explanation, leaving him grappling with questions that had no clear answers. The ghosts he encountered challenged his beliefs, forcing him to confront his own mortality, his own fears. Each spectral presence was a reminder of the unknown, of the mysteries that lay beyond the veil of death. He learned that death was not an ending, but a transition. It was a passage to another state of being, a continuation of the soul's journey. He witnessed the raw emotions that lingered beyond the veil, the love, the anger, the regret that bound spirits to the earthly plane. These emotions were powerful, palpable, and they told stories of lives that had been lived with passion and intensity. He saw the echoes of lives lived, of choices made, of paths not taken. Each spirit he encountered was a testament to the complexity of human existence, to the myriad of decisions that shape our destinies. He developed a deep empathy, not just for the dead, but for the living who mourned them. He began to understand the profound connection between the two, how the pain of loss could ripple through the fabric of life, affecting both the living and the dead. He saw how the pain of loss could fester, could poison the soul. It was a wound that, if left untreated, could consume a person from the inside out, leaving them hollow and broken. He realized that his role was not just to help the dead find peace, but to help the living heal. He became a bridge between the two worlds, guiding the grieving through their pain and helping them find a path to healing. He became a confidant, a counselor, a guide through the labyrinth of grief. He offered his wisdom, his understanding, and his compassion to those who were lost in the darkness of their sorrow. He offered solace, understanding, and a safe space to confront the raw emotions that accompanied loss. He created an environment where people could express their pain without fear of judgment, where they could begin to heal. He learned that sometimes the greatest gift he could offer was simply the ability to listen, to acknowledge the pain, and to remind them that they were not alone. In those moments of connection, he found his true purpose, his calling to be a beacon of hope in the midst of despair.